A single, lidless eye staring at a horizon it can no longer see. Imagine a creature so massive that its footsteps rattle the teeth of the mountains, yet so isolated that its only friends are the sheep it tends in the dark. This is Polyphemus. Most people know him as the villain of the Odyssey, the cannibalistic monster who trapped a hero in a cave. But there is a mystery hidden in his DNA that the history books tend to skip. Polyphemus wasn't just a freak of nature. He was the favorite son of Poseidon. He was a prince of the abyss living on a mountain, a divine experiment in raw power that ended in a scream of agony that changed the course of mythology forever. Why would the Lord of the Seas father a creature with one eye? Why was this prince living like a hermit in a cave of cheese and blood? Today, we are peeling back the layers of the monster to find the tragedy underneath. We are looking at the unloved son of the Earthshaker, a being who possessed the strength of a tidal wave but the social grace of a landslide. This isn't just a story about a hero escaping a giant. This is the story of a father's grief, a son's loneliness, and the moment a single sharpened stake turned a god's love into a decade of oceanic genocide.
Unveil the legends.
The biology of the Cyclops is the first great mystery. Polyphemus was born from the union of Poseidon and the sea nymph Thoosa. In the ancient world, the one eye wasn't seen as a deformity, it was a symbol of singular focus. It was the eye of the storm. While humans have binocular vision to perceive depth and nuance, the Cyclops sees only one thing, the target. This is the inheritance of Poseidon. The sea doesn't negotiate, it strikes. Polyphemus was designed to be a living boulder, a force of nature that didn't need the distraction of a second eye to understand the world. He lived on the island of Thrinacia, a place where the laws of men didn't apply. He didn't farm, he didn't build cities, and he didn't worship the gods, not even his own father. Why? Because when you are the son of the sea god, you are the law. He lived a life of pastoral brutalism. He made the finest sheep's milk cheese in the Mediterranean and spent his nights singing clumsy, booming love songs to the sea. He was a creature caught between two worlds, the crushing weight of his father's ocean and the quiet stillness of the earth. He was a giant who just wanted to be left alone with his flock until a clever man showed up and turned his paradise into a slaughterhouse. The encounter with Odysseus is usually framed as a victory of brain over brawn, but if you look closer, it's a story of unprovoked home invasion. Odysseus and his men broke into Polyphemus's house, ate his food, and then sat around waiting for gifts. When the master of the house returned and found intruders in his pantry, he reacted with the logic of the deep: predators eat prey. Polyphemus didn't see heroes, he saw calories. But the mystery deepens during the night of the blinding. When Odysseus told the Cyclops his name was Nobody, he wasn't just being clever, he was exploiting the giant's social isolation. Polyphemus had no concept of lies because the sea doesn't lie. A wave is a wave, a storm is a storm. To a child of Poseidon, words were supposed to be as solid as rocks. When the heated stake entered his eye, it didn't just take his sight, it destroyed his trust in reality. When he screamed to his brothers that "nobody is killing me," and they walked away, the tragedy was complete. The son of a god was rendered truly alone, silenced by a joke he didn't have the capacity to understand. The most haunting part of the mystery is what happened next. A blinded, bleeding Polyphemus stumbled to the shore. He didn't call for a doctor, he called for his father. This is the moment where the monster becomes a sun. He reached out toward the sound of the waves and delivered a curse that vibrated through the very core of the planet. He asked Poseidon to ensure that Odysseus never reached home, or if he did, that he arrived late, alone, and to a house of total chaos. Poseidon, sitting in his golden palace, felt the agony of his son through the salt water. He didn't ask if Polyphemus was right or wrong. He didn't care about the rules of hospitality. He felt the pain of his flesh and blood, and he answered with a roar that tilted the axis of the sea. This is the tragic bond. Poseidon loved his monstrous son more than he loved his civilized Olympian relatives. He saw in Polyphemus the raw, unedited version of himself. By blinding the Cyclops, Odysseus hadn't just maimed a monster, he had poked the eye of the Atlantic Ocean. There is a lesser-known side to Polyphemus that adds a layer of out-of-the-box mystery to his character. In later myths, we see a softer, even more pathetic version of the giant. He falls in love with the sea nymph Galatea. He tries to groom himself, using a giant scythe to comb his hair and a mirror-like pool to check his one remaining eye. He brings her gifts of bear cubs and flowers. But he is a monster, and Galatea loves a beautiful mortal named Acis. In a fit of Poseidon-esque jealousy, Polyphemus crushed his rival with a massive rock. This tells us everything we need to know about the lineage of the sea god. Even their love is a catastrophe. Polyphemus was a victim of his own scale. He was too big for the world, too loud for the nymphs, and too honest for the clever Greeks. He was a creature of the deep, trying to live in the light, and he was punished for it by every poet who ever picked up a pen. He remains the most misunderstood figure in the mythic mystery vault, a son who was loved by a god but hated by the earth. As we look at the cliffs and caves of the Mediterranean today, we see the headstones of the Cyclopes. We see the massive stones that no human could have moved, and we wonder if the one eye is still out there, lurking in the shadows of a volcanic grotto. The story of Polyphemus is a warning. Do not mistake size for stupidity, and do not mistake isolation for weakness. The tragedy of the Cyclops is that he was a mirror of the sea itself, boundless, unpredictable, and capable of both great nurturing and total destruction. When you hear the wind howling through a seaside cavern, don't think of it as a storm. Think of it as the ghost of a giant, still calling out to a father who spent 10 years drowning a fleet of ships just to say, "I hear you, my son." The grudge of Poseidon was the funeral pyre for Polyphemus's eye, and the smoke from that fire still clouds the waters of the ancient world.